I would like to present you all to Latanya Darden, Business Development Specialist of under the Minority and Women-Owned Business Outreach Division of the Export-Import Bank of the United States. Thank you, Latanya, for being with us today.
You're welcome, Ruth. Thank you for having me. I am so excited and am happy to be here today. Our team, as I said, as I didn't say, we are mandated to reach minority businesses, which are comprised of minorities of all ethnicities and those in underserved communities. So
Latanya, before you get started, if you would, oh, there we go. I wanted to make sure everybody could see your face.
yes, sorry about that. Yes, so just happy to be here today, raising awareness about EXIM, and in particular our team and the services that we offer to minority businesses. You can advance the slide. Okay, for those who aren't aware, the Export-Import Bank of the United States, also known as EXIM, is a federal government agency. And we also are the Export Credit Agency of the United States. So just to put that in perspective, most countries have an Export Credit Agency or an ECA that supports businesses in those respective countries. And that is what EXIM does for businesses here in the United States who are selling their product or providing a service to their customers outside of the United States. The mission of EXIM Bank is to support American jobs by increasing U.S. export support. We offer financing, including export credit insurance, loan guarantees, just to name a few, to advance American competitiveness and assist U.S. businesses as they compete for global sales. EXIM programs, actually, we don't compete with other financial institutions. We actually complement them by filling the gaps and assuming risk associated with doing business abroad. So whenever you hear risk, often equate that to EXIM because we actually assume the risk and come in and make the buyers and the customers, U.S. businesses, more comfortable due to the products that we offer. Next slide, please. Okay, so the Minority and Women-Owned Business Outreach Division is a group of business development officers who assist U.S. businesses navigate the export landscape. The MWOB, which it is also known as division, is comprised of three groups. There's the MWOB group. The group also contains the Client Care Unit, known as CCU. And the Client Care Unit was established maybe about 3 or 4 years ago now, but they actually assist our current customers in helping them to leverage or use their policies more. If we determine that, hey, they have this policy, but they're not using it, let's give them a call to see how we can help them better to do that. They also help businesses to acquire the unique entity identifier or UEI number, which is also a requirement now for any businesses who are securing government contracts. That is a number that you must have. So they assist our current customers in getting that number. And then there's also the Regional Export Promotion Program, or REP. Those organizations assist us in raising awareness about EXIM. You know, we are a small team, but we have a mandate to reach thousands and thousands of businesses every year, which is quite frankly impossible. So we rely on the organizations who are actually our boots on the ground, if you will, and they help us to reach the businesses that we are mandated to reach, and to just educate them on the export resources that are available to them. The team exists. It is part of the bank's charter for us to exist, and our primary focus is to raise awareness again about EXIM Bank as well as other export business resources. We provide free consultations, so I encourage you to reach out to us. We provide free one-on-one consultations, and we provide introductions and connections to those businesses who may not yet be quite ready for EXIM Bank, but we will guide them to businesses who can assist them in their export readiness. EXIM is just a small piece of an entire ecosystem of export resources that can be challenging to sift through without experienced and knowledgeable consultants to help you. And so that's where the MWOB team comes in. Next slide, please. So last fiscal year, the MWOB team hosted more than 95 events. And over $345 million supported minority and women-owned businesses. And so here are some points that the team is mandated to in our efforts. So we ensure equitable distribution of services. We actually train businesses on the ability of EXIM support as well as other export resources. We increase awareness about other resources, as I mentioned earlier, and we very often do what I am doing now through seminars, webinars, trade shows, roundtables, any opportunity that we get to raise awareness about EXIM. We are there for that. That is our goal. And we nurture clients in meeting the eligibility requirements for government assistance programs and financing. And so, again, I encourage you to contact us to schedule that consultation so we can have a deeper discussion about where you are in your business journey and how EXIM and other resources can potentially help you. Next slide. So again, last year, our team hosted more than 95 events and over $345 million went to supported minority and women-owned businesses. And as you can see here, we support businesses owned by minorities, veterans, businesses located in rural areas, businesses whose owners identify as LGBTQI+, and really any business that is in an underserved community. That is who we outreach to. And again, I'm very excited today. As you can see here, business owners with disabilities is also encompassed in the minority platform. So I'm very excited and happy to be here today. This is our first time co-hosting an event with that business community, with the disabled business community, and very excited about that and the future relationship and events that we will host together. Next slide. So if you're focusing on increasing your customer base domestically, you're actually hindering the growth of your business. 95% of consumers are located outside of the United States. Only 1% of US companies export. Exporters gives you access to those customers who want to do business with you because your products are actually made in the United States, and American-made products are highly sought after around the globe. Next slide. So business, I often ask the question, well, why should I export? What's the benefit? What's in it for me? Well, exporting provides access to more customers. And again, American-made products and services are highly regarded and wanted around the world. And it gives you an opportunity to also expand your customer base. Minority-owned businesses often have relationships with businesses in the countries that they're interested in exporting to. So again, just remember, if you are not, you might not be ready today, but you could be just gathering information about the export process at this moment, that is fine. But we do encourage you and just want to raise awareness about the benefits of exporting. EXIM, next slide, please. EXIM has you covered from the beginning of your transaction to the end or after you ship or provide your service to the customer. We have our working capital loan guarantee, which is at the beginning of your transaction. And at the end, you have your insurance, export credit insurance or trade credit insurance, which it is most known as, and direct loans. Direct loans are typically for those transactions that where a customer abroad wants to purchase capital equipment or construction equipment that is made here in the United States. So that may or may not apply to you. If it does, I can have that conversation with you as well, although that in a transaction of that size is typically beyond the scope of the Office of Small Business, which is where the MWOB division is located. But I can definitely connect you with the correct or the appropriate division. And I see here the insurance is for post-export financing. And actually the insurance should be, I'm thinking for because you can offer credit terms with the insurance product. And I will go into deeper detail about that as we move forward. Next slide. So I'll start with the Working Capital Loan Guarantee Program, which is also known as EXIM's Access to Capital tool. This is a guarantee of 95% that we provide lenders we have an agreement with, known as delegated lenders. These lenders actually finance the export-related loans, and they're typically more comfortable and willing to finance these export-related loans because they have the backing or the guarantee of EXIM Bank. Lenders typically will not provide an advance or finance loans without EXIM's guarantee. Next slide. And so here is a visual here of the process of what it looks like to the process of acquiring an export working capital loan. Proceeds from these loans can be used to purchase materials needed to manufacture your product, any finished products that you may be exporting, labor and overhead costs, any fees associated with the export transaction. So you have an export opportunity you want to take advantage of, but you need financing and inventory destined for export. You apply for a working capital loan, but your lender will not finance export-related collateral, not willing to assume the risk. That's where we come in. Lenders with delegated authority process or finance the loan per EXIM guidelines. The loan proceeds are used to fulfill the export sale. Next slide. Okay, so now you've gotten the financing you need to fill the order, but there's still the concern about getting paid. The solution to that concern is export or trade credit insurance. There are three primary benefits for having a trade credit insurance policy. In addition to the ease of doing business internationally, it is a great marketing tool that gives you an advantage when negotiating a contract or a sale. That advantage is open account or credit terms that you can offer your potential buyer. Typical term or credit limits that we see are anywhere from 30 to 90 days. However, terms can extend as long as 180 days in some cases. This is attractive for you, the exporter, as well as the buyer, who would rather buy on credit versus cash in advance. We all know cash is king. However, extending credit terms attracts more customers, and you'll likely get larger orders because buyers are not paying in advance. Exporting without trade credit insurance, I often equate it to, it's like driving without car insurance. You know, one can do it, but there is risk involved. So why take on that risk when this tool is available at a very minimal cost? 65 cents per $100 of the invoice value, which is very minimal. For example, on a $30,000 sale, $28,500 is covered for a premium of $195, which actually is not paid until you ship your product. So it's not like the insurance that you may be familiar with. Some insurances where you pay a monthly premium whether you use it or not. Trade credit insurance isn't structured that way. You only pay your premium when you actually ship your product or provide your service. Your business qualifies for trade credit insurance if it has been operating for, our underwriters like to see at least 2 to 3 years. You must have a DUNS or DMB number and the UEI number that I mentioned previously, a positive net worth, or confirmed profits with account statements and tax returns, and the product has at least 51% of US content or components. If it's a service that's being provided, if your business provides a service and doesn't have a tangible product that you're exporting, US personnel must be providing the service, either here in the US or abroad. Now, we prefer to see these criteria. However, we can waive 1 or 2 of these depending on the circumstances. For instance, quite a few businesses have taken a hit over the past 4 years or so due to the pandemic. That can be considered during the underwriting process. Next slide, please. So a transaction utilizing trade credit insurance is outlined here. You've identified your customer, you apply for trade credit insurance. When approved, you offer credit terms to the buyer and they agree to the payment terms. The product is shipped and the shipment is reported, which is very important. We have an online portal or tool that all shipments must be reported via that portal. And you also pay premium at that time. And what's great about this insurance is that, again, you pay premium or fees when you ship your product, not monthly, as I said earlier, as what most insurance policies require. Next slide, please. So the policy covers commercial or political risk. And some examples of these are the inability to convert currency, if your customer abroad loses their import license, or political unrest or war breaks out in a country. Fraud on the part of your customer. These are just some instances where you'll be covered. And again, I can't stress enough that it's very important to report those shipments and pay your premium, because if something does go awry during the transaction, if we're not aware that a shipment has occurred, we would not be able to approve your claim. So hopefully that won't be the case, but that is just an example of where EXIM would not provide support. Next slide, please. Now, EXIM supports many industries or sectors, as you can see here, but I'd like to focus on services for a moment, because a lot of businesses that we outreach to, they do not have a product. They are actually a business that provides a service. So don't dismiss receiving support from EXIM because you don't have a product, you provide a service. The key to remember is if your customer is beyond US borders, the service your business provides is an export. We support a wide range of services such as IT, consulting, engineering, freight forwarding, security, and legal services are just some examples of service providers or services that EXIM will provide support for. Again, the key to remember is that the customer is abroad and payment is from outside of the US border, it is an export. Next slide, please. And so we often refer to, whenever you're considering exporting, always review the country limitation schedule, also known as the CLS. Visit the site often because, as we know, changes occur rapidly in the world. So we encourage you to go to our website, exim.gov, and look at the country limitation schedule to see if we are in fact open in a particular country. Next slide. So there are a few restrictions per our charter, which is how EXIM Bank operates. So I'll just go over a couple of them here. Absolutely no sales to a foreign military unless it is for humanitarian reasons, such as food drops during a country crisis or emergency vehicles that could be considered. We also have a US content requirement, as I mentioned earlier. If it is a product that you are exporting, it must have at least US content of 51%. And products must ship from the US to get support from us. Next slide. Now, the question now is, are you ready to export? So in order to get ready to export, you must get counseling and training. Again, you can contact us. I encourage you to contact our team, the MWOB team, and I will put our website in the chat. If you need assistance with finding buyers for your products or services, the U.S. Department of Commerce is a great resource and they assist with that as well. And to get funding for your export activities, that's where we come in, or if we are not able to provide the funding for you, there are organizations that we have alliances with that can get you that funding that you may need for your export activities. Next slide. So again, these are some resources that I mentioned before. The SBA has an international trade division, and they also have export resources or financing. And also the Department of Commerce or the International Trade Administration within the Department of Commerce, they have resources available to help US businesses find buyers abroad who actually have a need or want their product or service. Next slide. And these are additional resources of EXIM that we rely on to assist us in our outreach initiatives. We have credit insurance brokers that are available at no charge to you. They assist businesses in selecting the policy that's best for their business model. They actually report shipments for you, and in the event that you would need to file a claim, they submit those documents on your behalf as well. I mentioned our regional export promotion program rep in the beginning of the presentation. Those are organizations at the state and local level that assist us in educating the thousands of small businesses that we're mandated to reach. They assist businesses to develop an export business plan, which is key. Just as you need a business plan when you are trying to acquire any type of funding or grants, you also need an export business plan, and our rep organizations assist with that. There are over 50 rep organizations across the US, and you can find the close reps in your state on our website, exim.gov/REPP. Then we also have delegated lenders. These are lenders that finance export-related loans. Those proceeds can be used to purchase raw materials, finished product that you may be exporting, any costs associated with the export transaction. And you can find these resources again on our website. Next slide, please. I encourage you to stay connected with EXIM on all social media platforms outlined here. Also visit our website and subscribe to our newsletter to stay updated, as well as to upcoming events, which are mostly of no cost. And the various trade.gov is another great website to subscribe to as well, because they often have free events as well that you can attend to stay updated as to everything that's going on in the world of trade. So I believe that, next slide, I believe that concludes my presentation today. And now I will open the floor for any questions.
So Latanya, this is Lexi. I don't see any questions in the chat yet, but if anyone does have a question, you're welcome to type it into the chat or to come off of mute and ask it directly, whatever you'd prefer. You can raise a hand if you have a question and need assistance from an ASL interpreter.
Okay, and I'm also putting my landing page in the chat. You can visit the page to schedule an appointment at any time. And I will also include my email address. You can always reach me by email and or phone.
And there we go. It does look like we have one question in the chat. Mark asks, how long does it take to process a claim and ultimately receive payment from the customer?
Okay, so the claim process is when you submit a claim, and after you submitted all of the required documents with the claim and you've exhausted all measures to collect, we will pay you, the exporter, at 95% of your invoice, and then we will collect from the buyer. So if a claim is filed, you will actually receive payment from EXIM, not the customer, and then we will collect from the buyer. I hope that answers your question.
You got a thank you in the chat, so I think it did.
Great.
And
You
Latanya did
talk-
put, oh, go ahead, Caroline.
You talked about the benefits of exporting. What are the challenges you see, and how can businesses prepare so that they don't encounter those challenges?
Okay, hold on one second. So customers can prepare by utilizing the resources of the businesses that I mentioned earlier. Excuse me, hold on. Sorry about that. They can utilize and reach out to those those organizations that assist with export readiness. We will help you. And when I say we, I mean all of the export resources. We will do the hand holding and assist you every step of the way to make sure that you are ready for your first export transaction. Another point I'd like to make too, if you're not ready yet, but there is a business that you should consider partnering with that has experience with exporting, or maybe not exporting. They may have been in business longer. They have stronger financials, to go after that first export deal.
This is Lexi again. We do have another question in the chat. Oh, and I just lost it.
Yeah, I think I
There
see.
it is. So Angela asked, are shipping resources available, for example, vendors?
Yes, so we do have a network of freight forwarders that we can possibly connect you with. So yes, there is, if we can, but there are so many other resources where you can get connected with shippers, yes, to answer your question.
Thank you. And then also from Carrie, is there a recommended minimum amount of sales to generate prior to moving to exporting? I know you mentioned some are larger than the definition of SBA small business.
Yes, so we do like to see some history, but a waiver can be issued in this scenario. So say if you worked for a company where you made widgets for 15 years, you no longer work at that company, you started your own, and that experience that you had with that business, that you may not have been exporting, but you have experience with the product or the service. That is a scenario where the export requirement can possibly be waived. And yes, these are great questions. Thank you. I love questions. Keeps me on my toes.
It's always nice and it can be a little more interactive.
Exactly. Yes, I'm loving it.
Yeah. Does anyone else have a question they'd like to come off of mute and ask, or put in the chat? You're welcome to.
Yes, so I see someone
Mhm.
asked about customer service, particularly general communications. Yes, that is something that, or a service that potentially can receive support from XM. The key to remember is, as long as your customer is located outside of the United States and US personnel are providing that service, whether it's here in the US or abroad, that is something that we can potentially look at, yes.
Wonderful. All right. Any more questions before we move into the services that NDI provides and then wrap things up? You're welcome to throw them in the chat if you think of something.
And to add to that, I
Mhm.
also, you can schedule an appointment with me. It would be meet with me or someone on my team. You can also call me or send me an email, all of which I have included in the chat.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Because, of course, once you get off of the webinar, then you think of the next question that you wanted to ask, right?
Exactly, exactly, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we will turn it over. Oh, well, first I'll share your contact information slide so everyone can see it up on the screen as well. I know you put
Thank you.
your phone number and email in the chat also. And we will send an email with all of this information, how to access the recording, how to access the slides, how to reach LaTanya. So you'll have all of this in your email as well, everybody. But there's her information up on the screen. And we will let Ruth share some of our upcoming events and some things about NDI. There's still time if you think of another question to paste it in the chat for LaTanya.
Thank you, Lexi. And thank you, LaTanya. Upcoming events, we have the World of Possibilities Disability Expo, which will be held April 13th from 11 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is an in-person event at the Samuel Riggs Alumni Center, College Park. We have a webinar addressing barriers to opportunities for diverse suppliers that will be coming up Wednesday, April 17th from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, presented by Yvonne, Director of the Capital Innovation Lab for Strategic Investments. And you can register through the link that will be provided in the chat. Next slide. And at the NDA Small Business and NDI Small Business Hub, if you are an aspiring entrepreneur or have interest in starting your business or growing your business, you have access to small business support. You can visit our website, www.disabilitysmallbusiness.org, or you can email me, Ruth Chavez, at rchavez@ndi-inc.org. You can also visit our streaming TV channel for information and motivational content for disability-owned small businesses. That website is www.disabilityowned.com. And also you can access training and mentoring, business coaching, and an opportunity to apply for a $10,000 grant through Verizon's Small Business Digital Ready program. If you need assistance with registering for that, feel free to reach out to me and we can set up an appointment and go through that process one-on-one as well. And what would be the process of applying for the grant. And also, we always recommend for you, if you have not signed up for our mailing list, feel free to sign up, and Lexi will put that in the chat as well, for NDI Small Business Hub, where we provide information of upcoming opportunities, spotlights of our small businesses, and any grant opportunities that come about. And this is our team. This slide has the picture of Nikki Powis, Director of Small Business Programs, myself, Ruth Chavez, Small Business Community Navigator, Caroline Bola, Small Business Specialist, and Alexis Jones, our Small Business Project Coordinator. Next slide.
Well, that is the end of the presentation. So if there are any other questions, please feel free to raise your hand or come off mute. And otherwise, LaTanya, we'd just like to thank you for your time, for joining us and sharing this important resource with the entrepreneurs that we work with.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for taking a little time out of your day to learn more about EXIM and NDI. And please be on the lookout for an email that has all of these links and information easily accessible for you. Take
Thank
care,
you.
everybody.
Have a good afternoon, everyone.